Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here, and I wanted to show you guys this. So this is the key actually that we use on Milton Daily Homes. So I put the video on this key and then Annette helps me with the editing. And so I said it looks like Knight Rider. And so if you have a look on the back here, my staff decided to do a little surprise. So that's the kind of fun we have around this office. We're at the Green Life Business Center at Fort 50 Bronte. So if you ever want to pop by and grab a coffee and just have a chat, feel free to do so. And that's where we run the buyer classes, is in our team office here. So today, 13 properties, and the first one is this one on Laurier, and so it's $299. And I like the size of this one. They're original cabinets, but they did kind of some neat features here. It looks like they might have painted the cabinets. The fridge is probably about as old as I am, but it looks like it's still... Some of those old fridges really work well. Parquet floor, but they stained it dark, and I find it looks a lot better when you've got a darker parquet compared to like that honey color. It's a good looking home. It looks like it's been well kept. I like the fact that you don't get the old school doors here. They've upgraded those. It makes a huge difference. And the only thing in the backyard is that when you've got a higher deck like this, you may be in a position where you have a little less privacy because you're raised up, and maybe your fence is only half the height that it would be if you were down on ground level. They may have more space for storage underneath that deck, which could be an advantage too. $299 looks like a very marketable price for what you're getting there. Anything sort of decently upgraded around that $300 range tends to do pretty well. Tight court is $357. It's a moon seat end. Even though it's a little bit smaller than the inside, like a Woodbine, I find that these ones are selling for a lot less. Woodbines have gone up $370, $380. We've got the corner Oak Grove and Sumacs going for $375, $380. And this one has, I think, some real benefits. I like the main floor the most out of any of them. It's the only one with an eat-in kitchen. Big open concept, probably one of the larger family rooms that you find. I know there's no photos here, but if you look up a moon seat end on Google, you can probably find the floor plan. I think this is a good price. We've seen a few of these that have listed for a bit less. So even within the models in the village townhouses, the 3 stories with the single garages, we do see a lot of variation in pricing. One could be really hot and one's not so hot. The only thing I wanted to point out here is that the possession is June 30th. When you see a date like that, the sellers probably have a next step in mind, and so you can use that sometimes as a buyer to your advantage. Another one on Dairy Road. It faces Dairy. We've seen, I think the neighbor listed yesterday, so $379 for this one. The tricky part is that it's the $90 a month road maintenance fee. Really on a mortgage, if you had a $90 payment, that translates on a mortgage to probably $15,000 to $20,000 worth of mortgage money. So the way I think about that is that $379 is it's almost as if from a cash flow perspective, you bought a home with 0 condo fees at $395 or $400,000 at this asking price. So people don't look at it that way, but that's really what it means when you have that level of extra fee. Probably a pretty stable fee though, just because you don't have a lot of, it's just road maintenance and snow removal. Hampshire Way is $399. Townhouses, anything under $400,000 basically gets a good, like you're in a good place if you're under $400,000. There's a lot of buyers looking for that, and it's amazing because I remember when these ones were for sale for $200,000 and $220,000. That obviously has changed over the years. And there's an interesting thing too. There's a finished basement here. A lot of people will come to us like 5 or 6 years later and go, gosh, if I only spent an extra $10,000, I would have that double garage, or I would have the detached instead of the semi. So you have to balance that. I find a lot of first-time buyers come to us and they say, I only want to be within this range and I want to make sure it's affordable. But here's the thing, when you trade homes, there's a cost to trade, there's real estate fee, land transfer tax, all these different costs associated with it. So if that's going to cost you, let's say $20,000 or $25,000, why not buy a home for $10,000 or $15,000 extra that you'd be happy with for longer? So I'm not saying blow your budget, but I'm saying sometimes think a little more long term and don't just buy the home that you know you're going to grow out of in 2 years. And I say that because I did that, and I moved 3 times in 5 years because I kept saying, well, it's good enough, it's enough size. Not really. And fortunately, I didn't have to pay myself when I sold those homes, but I still had those extra costs land transfer tax, and I had to pay the other agent when they brought the buyer, and all those kind of things. So something to consider too is really take that holistic look at what's important to you, and also how long that you want to stay there. So longer is generally better. Bustle Crescent, $419. I think they dropped the price on this one. I actually think this is a pretty good deal. You've got a deeper lot here, and probably in reaction to the one on Bonin that listed. But basically, you have your sloping berm in the back, and kids love this. If in the winter, it's great for tobogganing. Behind that is the train, so that's a physical barrier to help with the noise from the train, but you do hear it. We've talked about on past episodes of Daily Homes that sometimes I've heard from some clients, they go, you can't even hear the train after 2 weeks. Other clients say, I hated it from the day I moved in. It's really up to you. Do your diligence, do your homework, make sure that you're comfortable with that before proceeding. Cargill is $434.9, so it's a Bryn Mawr model, 1733 square feet, main floor, family room. And then you've got a good layout for the kitchen. That's a movable island, so you can shift it around based on what you need it for. You also have your family room. There's also there might be a den on this one. I saw a door there. Sometimes there's a little den that's tucked away from the family room. And then you got your 3 bedrooms. It's a double car garage with a deck above. So one of the best shots I think you can find for this home, and it's not here, is to show from the back alley. You can kind of see it through here, is that double car garage, because it's probably the cheapest way to get a double car garage these days is to buy something like this. You just don't have the backyard. That's the thing. So something like Cargill, there is some park and green space nearby, but you're not getting your own private backyard. You do have that deck above. Pricing seems a little bit high to me on that one on Cargill. A lot of them fall into that $415 to maybe like $430 range. Thompson, they misquoted the square footage. It's like 1860 square feet, not 1917. It's called, I think, a Rosewood by Mattamy. Front living dining room, and then you also have a family room with the kitchen behind. Again, movable island. You can move that around. A lot of people will do it, like shift that 90 degrees. That's the way that most people have the island there. Yeah, it's okay. $439 to me, I think, it's taking into consideration the fact that it's on Thompson. So you're not, like, the kids can still play outside of this one. There's little cul-de-sacs, but you hear the road noise from the property. I think this one's going to get a lot of action. I generally am not a big fan of homes that are on Thompson, but at that price point, it's very good. We've seen that model on quieter streets sell for over $450. So Holley is $439. You have a bit of an oversized single car garage there, and yeah, it's okay. You know, like, I think they're probably a little bit on the high side, but they're not that far off. It's a nice, I guess, compromise. Again, you're not seeing a lot in the new area. It's very hard to find detached under $450, and so they're positioned in a place where if somebody's searching for only detached under there, they're going to see this one and not a whole lot of other ones. 35 by 120 foot lot. This one on Tremaine is $459. I was trying to find a map that Councillor Colin Best sent over. For some reason the link didn't work. It worked a few days ago, but it shows how Tremaine is actually being redirected. So there's a new 401 exit, and in that whole Milton Heights areas, or in the Milton Heights area, pardon me, there's it's at the municipal board right now. On a provincial level, developers want to get in there and start building homes, and you've got that new Tremaine exit. All kinds of things are happening in the area. This one could actually end up being on a quieter cul-de-sac, which could help. You're also going to find a lot more traffic and busyness happening with more homes and also with the highway exit. So anyway, nice size piece of property, $459. I think that's pretty marketable at this price. The one next door was for sale. I'm not sure if it still is, for a little bit more. And this one, it's got some original features, but it's also a pretty quiet community as it stands right now. Just be careful of what you're getting into, because the area can change a lot in the next few years. Manly's $489, 22 by 105 foot lot. It's got an open area right here. Normally that's where the 4th bedroom goes if you do have this area closed off. It's a very segmented, it's a long house, and you have a little bit of a kind of a pass-through window in the kitchen. So it's kind of open concept, and it's, I don't know, like it's a little more, I don't know what you call it, like a European, where you've got a little family room beside the kitchen plus a breakfast area. So there's a little, if you like to cook and talk to family and hang out, it can be a nice floor plan. I think it's pretty high on price. Like there's some pictures that for some reason aren't loading, but you can check the link for more pictures on this one. There is a finished basement. I think the price is a little bit high. I've seen this model sell before and it has never reached that price. We've got this one on Hawthorne Crescent at $499. Probably my favorite pick of the day. Renovated home. You've got a back split. There's a lot of space here. You got the walkout to the backyard. You basically have two family rooms right here and there. It looks like they've done good work inside this home. Bedrooms are decent size. They've upgraded the bathroom. And so it's 4 different levels. And so they're deceiving in how big they are. They're not always the most, I would call it like open concept, but it's great. I find kids love these homes when they have older kids, because every person kind of has their zone where they can hang out and not really disturb the other people. So 40 by 120 foot lot, garage and a half, and I like the price on this one a lot. It's a great street too. It's a very quiet street, very friendly neighbors. Slingsby is 2,300 square feet at about $550. And again, I don't feel like this one's that far off. There's not that many photos here, but it seems in line with what else that size of home sells for. There was one on McDougall that sold in the 540s, and it wasn't as upgraded as that same size as this one, actually a little bit smaller. Row Terrace is 620, and that's just not a good photo. I don't think anybody would consider that to be marketable or anything really that's going to help them sell. My problem with this builder and some of the kitchens that they did, and I like the glass cabinets and the fancy hood fan, it kind of looks like a Toronto loft to me, and I don't know if the finishes are kind of in line with what, I don't know, to me it just looks a little bit sort of like first time buyer loftish, like, hey, 1-bedroom condo kind of thing. That's the impression I have when I see these kitchens. Maybe they look different in person. You've got your upgraded countertops, but I don't know, maybe it's the backsplash that throws me off, but it's probably not my favorite look for the kitchen. And then you've got, for some reason, all the photos are kind of down on the rooms, which I find makes it look a little bit smaller. But anyway, it's a reasonably quiet street, and at 620, you're somewhere between the 2,000 to 2,500 square foot range. There's a lot of competition right now between 600 and 650, which obviously supply and demand is going to make it a little more challenging. Typically, that tends to stretch out your days on the market. So that's the list for today. If you have any questions or if you want to see anything in person, let us know and we'll definitely get you in. Anything listed by any company on the Milton Daily Homes site or the search bar, it's all fair game. We can get you in right away. Okay, take care. We'll see you tomorrow.